how are you today?
Good, thank you. And you?
I'm very good, thanks. My name's Erin, and I'm going to be the speech pathologist today.
Hi, Erin. I'm Tanisha.
Alright, hi Tanisha. So today we're going to have a conversation about what your thoughts are about speech therapy and what your thoughts and concerns are regarding your speech impairment. First, I'd just like to get a sense on an everyday basis what your life is. So who you interact with, how an average day would look to you, and etc. Is that okay with you?
Okay, that sounds okay with me.
Alright, so to start off, where do you work?
I work as a stock person at the books barn.
Alright, and in a normal day, on average, how many people would you say you interact with?
On average, I would say anywhere between 6 and 15 people, depending on how busy the store gets that day. Since I live alone, majority of my interaction is at work.
Alright, and are there any significant medical instances, such as surgeries or illnesses that you've had?
I've had both my appendix and gallbladder removed.
Alright, and are there any allergies or medications that I need to be aware of?
I'm allergic to shellfish and sulfia drugs. Also, I'm on birth control.
Alright, perfect, thank you. So Tanisha, why are you interested in speech therapy?
I want to be able to talk to people without my stutter. I always have to speak really slow and repeat myself because people have such trouble understanding me. And it's been this way since elementary school. And I've even had some therapy at that time, but I never really had any improvements.
That must be really difficult for you. I'm really sorry that you had to experience that. So in your opinion, what has the stutter affected? So has it affected your personal or professional life in any way?
I would definitely say it has affected both my personal and professional life. My stutter always gets a little worse whenever I'm nervous. So if I'm talking to my boss, for example, I find my stutter to get worse. Also, when I'm in a situation where I have to talk to more than 2 or 3 people, my stutter worsens as well. I have found that I shut myself out of situations that would have a chance of making the stutter worse, and attempt to avoid having to repeat myself in order to make sure people understand me.
Okay, and can you think of any specific time or situation that you felt your stutter has stopped you from participating in anything or made you feel inferior?
I can't think of any certain situation, certain times, because I have noticed that my friends would stop inviting me to situations that they would know that would really activate my stutter in an attempt to try to protect my feelings.
Okay, I apologize that you have to go through that. Do you find that your stutter is better around friends or family, or even in groups of 3 or more?
It depends on the situation, but I would have to say it's never the worst it has been when I'm with family more than friends.
Okay, and what would you say a typical reaction from your family members or friends would be when you start to stutter?
They don't really react when I stutter, maybe because they're used to it by now, or they're trying not to draw attention to it, or maybe just not trying to hurt my feelings or make me more self-conscious.
Okay, and would you say that your stutter is a trigger for you to begin to feel more self-conscious?
Oh, absolutely. When I see strangers begin to react to my stutter, I try to talk less and less.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with me. Now, has the stutter been consistent since elementary school, or has it changed over time?
I would say it's gotten worse as I've gotten older and become more aware of the stutter and people's reaction to it. Also, I find myself in more and more situations where my stutter has gotten worse. Like when I was in university and had to do presentations or talk to my professor, I would dread it sometimes and avoid it altogether.
Alright, that must have been very tough on you. So, going back to something you said previously about going to therapy in elementary school, who initially placed you in the therapy?
My parents placed me in therapy in elementary school when my teachers made a comment that they noticed I would talk slowly when called in class or just wouldn't talk at all.
Okay, and how long exactly, if you can remember, were you in this therapy for?
I don't really remember exactly, but I can't think it was much longer than a couple months.
Alright, and you said you didn't feel that it made much of a difference.
From what I remember, I don't think it made much of a difference.
I'm sorry that you feel therapy didn't work for you at that time. That must have been really frustrating for you. Do you recall why you stopped going to the therapy?
I believe that I stopped because the school year was over and my parents didn't want me to have to go to therapy over the summertime.
Okay, now on to what you think exactly your stutter consists of. How long approximately would you say a repetition lasts for?
It really depends on the situation, but it could take anywhere from 20 seconds to a full minute in order for me to get the whole word out.
Alright, and are there any specific words or phrases that you find you consistently have trouble getting out?
I would definitely say the truly struggle with the pronunciation of my name. It would be my goal in therapy to be able to say my name without a bad stutter.
Alright, are there any tactics that you use in order to try and control your stuttering?
When I was in my teens, I used to shake my hands when I was talking to help me a bit, but it doesn't really work for me anymore.
Alright, and are there any tactics that you currently use to distract yourself?
No, not currently.
Alright, so throughout this conversation, would you consider your speech to be a typical example, or would you say it's non-typical?
No, I wouldn't consider this to be typical. I prepared myself for this interview and tried to keep myself mostly calm and not anxious. Also, it's kind of easier to control my stutter when I'm talking to people one-on-one.
Alright, so Tanisha, what do you feel would be significantly different or affected if you were to no longer have a stutter?
I think I would maybe be able to participate in more social activities than I do now and interact more confidently with strangers and groups than I do now. Also, I would feel more confident in pursuing a job in my field.
Alright, have you ever had trouble finding a job in the past because of your stutter?
Because of my stutter, I've never felt confident enough to apply to a job in my field or pursue higher education because of how much public speaking is involved. I've always felt that my stutter would be a problem, and that's why I haven't put myself out there.
Alright, I'm really sorry that you feel that way. So just to finish off, could you describe to me what you would consider to be a successful communication?
I would consider being able to get through a conversation in a normal amount of time without having to repeat myself, without having to talk at a slower pace, or without having to worry about whether or not people are able to understand what I'm saying to them. Also, if I don't experience as much blockage when trying to get the message out, that it would be a successful communication.
Okay, and are there any specific goals that you want out of this therapy?
I would like to be able to get it through a full conversation without blockage or cutting out what I fully want to say in order to have to talk for a shorter period of time.
Alright, well that concludes the interview. Thank you for your time and cooperation with all my questions. I know there was a lot. So through this interview, we've established a baseline of what we're going to start at in therapy, and we've created some goals on what you would like to work on in therapy. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss, any questions or concerns at this time before we're done?
No, I think we covered everything. I don't have any questions or anything. Thanks for asking, though.
Alright, perfect. Well, I'd just like to thank you again for your time, and it was very nice talking to you today, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
All right, thanks so much.